I have been invited by ERPIC to give a presentation on the Turkish elections and give my assessment of it and in terms of what is to be expected from the new re-elected Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan. We have a one-man rule confirmed, and we have a Turkish version of oriental despotism, governed by an ideology that marries Sunni supremacism with extreme nationalism. Now, concerning the future, I have identified two main problems. The number one has to do with Erdogan's health. It is my opinion that he may or may not complete his new 5-year term. He's 69 with various problems of health like epilepsy and cancer. It is my opinion that his health condition has figured in his cabinet appointments because of two concerns: A, his legacy, and B, his succession. In this regard, I confine myself to 3 significant appointments. Number one, of Hakan Fidan. He is Erdogan's closest and most trusted confidant. He moved from running Turkish intelligence for the past 15 years to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a post, by the way, that he wanted since 2014, and it was promised to him by Davutoglu, but it went nowhere because Erdogan wanted him to stay in his intelligence post. The second appointment is of Yaşar Güler. This is his second most important confidant. He was the former chief of staff of the Turkish armed forces, and he is now being appointed as Minister of Defense. I emphasize that with these two, Erdogan controls all mechanisms of power within Turkey, and most importantly, the Turkish deep state, Gizli Devlet. The number 3 significant appointment is Ibrahim Khalil, his erstwhile presidential spokesman, and he has been moved to the position of Fidan, in other words, as chief of Turkish intelligence. With these 3, he ensures no domestic challenges, including challenges from the army. And I should say, by the way, that I consider the 2016 ostensible coup as a false flag operation organized with Erdogan's knowledge and controlled by Fidan and Yaşar. Khalil was not in the picture then. This false flag coup enabled Erdogan to achieve total control over his opposition, especially the Gülenists and the armed forces. Fidan and Yaşar eliminated the Gülenists with lists that they had prepared ahead of time, running up to 10,000 people, and all the pro-Western Turkish army officers, the pro-Western, pro-NATO officers. The 3, Fidan, Yaşar, and Khalil, all ensure his legacy, or so Erdogan hopes and expects. But more importantly, in my opinion, they will ensure his succession in accordance with his wishes. Here, I must point out that there existed two potential successors for Erdogan. His defense minister, Hulusi Akar, and his interior minister, Süleyman Soylu. They are now both gone. And because in Islamic and Islamist regimes and societies, there exists a well-established tradition of family and dynastic succession, it is my opinion that Erdogan counts on Fidan, Güler, and Ganli to promote down the line either his son Bilal as his successor or his son-in-law Bayraktar as his successor. The second problem of Erdogan in his new presidency is what I want to emphasize too, and it is about the economy. There is a paradox here, at least seemingly so. The Turkish economy has been performing badly, with inflation running over 100% and the lira going downwards continuously. Plus, we have had the economic devastation of the earthquakes. And yet, Erdogan won. And this apparently tells us that it was not the economy, after all, stupid. In economic terms, perhaps the perception dominated that he was the only one, in spite of his recent record, who acted decisively and revive the economy through radical domestic measures that will spur growth. Erdogan, besides being a politician and an imam, considers himself to be an economist as well. But it must be emphasized that he considers himself to be a Muslim economist. And one of the principles of Muslim economics is that usury should not exist or exist in a very minimal way and in accordance to Muslim principles. To keep inflation, he has been advocating lower interest rates, something that runs contrary to established orthodox economics. Markets appear not to agree with him, considering the constant slide of the lira in the foreign exchange markets, with the latest in terms of its relation to the dollar running $1 to 23 liras. His appointment of Mehmet Şimşek, Minister of Treasury and Finance, who is supposed to be an orthodox economist, supposedly sends a signal that we may see the reversal of Erdoganomics. And maybe the potential appointment of a new head of the central bank will double down on this signal. The markets, however, so far are not convinced, and because they know, and everybody knows, who makes decisions in Turkey. It's the Rais, namely Erdogan. So far, special swaps and stopgap measures from Russia and the Arab world have been sustaining the Turkish economy. But this cannot continue. Investments from the West need to be revised. After all, it is Western investments that sustained Turkish growth under Erdogan. And this brings us to the last comment I want to make, which involves and is related to economics and foreign policy. Erdogan's foreign policy will continue to be transactional the way we have been used to in the last 15 years or so. But Erdogan is foremost a pragmatist. He's a pragmatic politician, and he knows that the goose that lays the golden egg in terms of economics, in terms of technology, and in terms of arms lies in the West, not in the East. He needs the West more than he is ready to acknowledge. So I expect to see a shift starting with lifting his veto over the admission of Sweden into NATO and reconciliation, especially with the United States. I think that soon, at the most within 6 months, maybe three to 6 months, he will lift the veto on the admission of Sweden. And the most concrete result of that is that he the way will open for access to the F-16s that he so desperately needs from the United States. There has been a lot of secret diplomacy about this issue, most recently with a talk by Mr. Fidan with the American Secretary of Defense. And I think the absence from the cabinet of the impudent and viciously anti-American and anti-Semitic Suleiman Soylu is a definite signal in this direction. I think Erdogan needs time and Western money and know-how to implement his grandiose schemes, of which he has made no secret. He wants himself to be a dominant player in global politics, and he wants to establish Turkey as a Sunni-dominated bastion of Islamism. Thank you very much.